Ngangisone sibi
ngizaye enkosini
wathi ngegama lika Jesu
ngathola ukukhululwa wezumthandazo wami wangithethelela wangingethula umthwalo wangishiya ngethulo
ngangisone sibi
ngizaye enkosini
wathi
ngegama lika Jesu ngathola ukukhululwa wezumthandazo wami wangithethelela wangingethula umthwalo wangishiya ngethulo yebo wethula umthwalo ungadlula yebo wethula umthwalo ngomthandazo wami uvalo lwami lwaphela uJesu wavusa umoya wami wangingethula umthwalo wangishiya ngethulo yebo wethula umthwalo ungadlula yebo wethula umthwalo ngomthandazo wami uvalo lwami lwaphela uJesu wavusa umoya wami wangingethula umthwalo wangishiya
uJesu wami
wangithula umthwalo wangishiya ngehlanzekile
uJesu wami
wangithula umthwalo wangishiya ngehlanzekile
Kusi Jesu yangithanda Kusi Jesu ngiyamuthanda Kusi Jesu wangifela lapho esiphambanweni Kusi Jesu yangithanda Kusi Jesu ngiyamuthanda Kusi Jesu wangifela lapho esiphambanweni uJesu wami
wangithula umthwalo wangishiya ngehlanzekile
uJesu wami
wangithula umthwalo wangishiya ngehlanzekile
ngizomethemba njalo
ubuya yasindlela uzongihola Jesu angisekele ezulwini ngolanda ngibongaphakade ungethula umthwalo wangishiya ngethulo
ngizomethemba njalo
ubuya yasindlela uzongihola Jesu angisekele ezulwini ngolanda ngibongaphakade ungethula umthwalo wangishiya ngethulo yebo wethula umthwalo ungadlula yebo wethula umthwalo ngomthandazo wami uvalo lwami lwaphela uJesu wavusa umoya wami wangithula umthwalo wangishiya ngethulo yebo wethula umthwalo ungadlula yebo wethula umthwalo ngomthandazo wami uvalo lwami lwaphela Jesu wavusa umoya wami wangithula umthwalo wangishiya ngethulo yebo wethula umthwalo ungadlula yebo wethula umthwalo ngomthandazo wami uvalo lwami lwaphela uJesu wavusa umoya wami wangithula umthwalo wangishiya ngethulo.
Hello, young people, and those who are young at heart. My name is Pastor D. What?
Pastor D-Cat, yes. Pastor D-Cat, and I'm Pastor Ivan.
No, I would rather not get there. I think I would rather be Moses than Pastor D-Cat. You know?
I'm just saying, since you are taking my title, who am I? I'm so humble. I will take yours. I am Pastor Ivan Kwatiringa.
Well, let me say to Shannon and all those that we've never met this year, let me say compliments of the new year and welcome back to Reality Table.
Thank you so much. It's already March, but thank you. We feel special.
But you know, this is the most exciting youth talk show on the planet Earth.
It's quite exciting. I missed the show.
You missed the show?
I did.
Okay, that's fine. And our topic today is...
God in the club.
The what?
God in the black, Ixi.
No. What's called a black?
A black is a club, like a nightclub. Like, you know, when you used to leave school, I don't know what you used to call it in your ancient days. In our time, we used to call it a black.
Ah, come
So
on.
when you hook up with your friends and
Guys,
say, hey,
look,
let's go to the
look
park.
at me and look at Pastor Ticket. Who looks more archaic than the other? Yeah,
Please
right?
put it on the comment section. I'll appreciate it so much.
But you know what? During our days, and now I'm accepting I'm archaic. You know, like these days, Kuda would say, no, I'm going to the movies, I'm going to the movie house, I'm
the
going to watch
Vumis.
to the Vumis. No, I think I should, I like the way that you do it in retrospect, coming from there to there. Sakateti, takwenda ku bicycle.
Hey, to Piscopo. In Pulawe, they say Piscopo. See a Piscopo.
I think I like that. And I don't say that. You know, my wife isn't Ndebele.
I've never said that.
Well, our topic today is God in the club. What are we talking about? Let me cross over to Kuda. Yes, God in the club. What do you think we're talking about?
I think that we're talking about certain places where God can only be confined to go. And you are pointing it out as if God does not even go to the club.
Are you accusing me to say that I said the...
Fired.
I mean, come on, I'm the host here, and you
Shots
already,
fired.
before you even start discussing, you are telling me that, does it mean, so what are you saying?
Well, action speaks louder than words. And in your case, Pastor, you have been found wanting to point it as if God has certain places that he cannot be.
But are you saying God can be in all the places?
Yes, from what I believe in, that God is omnipresent. I think that God can be everywhere. So
I think I completely agree with Kuda. Because when
Why
you,
were we afraid that Moses would completely agree with
I mean,
Why
if
were
you
we
get-
afraid?
You know, agree is just good enough.
Like, in fact, if we hadn't agreed with him, we would have said, don't you agree, Moses?
No, but the problem is,
but
why
I-
do you have to completely when you can only agree?
Just agree. Why do you want to substantiate how much you agree? Just agree.
it's just to show that we're on the same side. Because when you read the manual, I think it's Matthew 1 verse 20, it says, God with us. In other words, in everything we do, he's everywhere. And to make matters worse, David says that even when I go to the valley of death, and you know what's so interesting is that people who are older than us look at us and go like, my youth, funny.
You die.
But if you come to think of it, even you guys, there's some things that you, the bachelor parties, the my kitchen, what, are you guys saying God will be there also? So
No,
that's the
you
idea that
guys-
we're bringing in to say,
Did I hear you
yes,
clearly?
yes.
So ndogonotenda zvangu kuma avenues and there's
Come now.
no problem with that.
Tell them, sister.
Jekisa ipapo shamari.
I was through the Mandara request. He's protecting the drunkard and the guy going to church. So, I mean, he's got to be everywhere. Look at the case of David.
Okay, so now I have a question. If God is omnipresent, so why am I struggling to be upright? I mean, after all, there's this thing called Ndejepasi. I can actually go to the club because he's protecting me anyway.
Yes.
I can go to the club and do Jepasi and then go to church on Sabbath. What exactly are you saying, you guys?
Who was saying God can be in the church as much as he's in the club.
Oh my goodness.
What?
Actually,
hear that?
actually, there's a verse in the Bible. You are the pastors. I know you give us
No,
the
I'm the
reference.
host. He is the pastor.
You give us the reference.
Do you know, Kuda? People who normally say, no disrespect.
They
Their
want to
next statement is so disrespectful. So when you said you are the pastors, I know right now you want to be the pastor. Just shoot your thing and don't check if there's anyone around. Just shoot your thing.
Yes, that God, when rain comes, panonaisa mvura, anonaisira vanomunamata, nevasingamunamata. Like it's even when the sun is coming out, rinobudira munhu wese. God is-
Kuda,
yeah.
uri kuti Jesu anokunaisira iwewe pa club.
God is everywhere.
So let me get this straight. Are you saying all the adventure, the credo, all those teachings we got from this young age, it's all coming to naught because at the end of the day, we all get mugged, we all get the blessings that they're getting anyway?
No. You're carrying us. I was saying those lessons have taught us what we know now. That if I go to the club, God is with me.
Yes.
This one, they spend the whole years teaching us to find God, but we've learned through the scriptures, God comes to me. So what I'm saying is, I'm in the club, he's with me, he's moving with me. And anyway, I'm just.
So I have a question. I know you're the host, but I have a question to say. So
I'm still confused.
what are you guys doing in the club? Because when we were growing up, the club was a place where we'd get there and dance, have a beer or two, a cider or two, hot stuff and all those stuffs. So what do you, What do you guys do in your guys' clubs? What do you guys do?
We're chilling. It can be like just after you had a day of work, like personally, like from my attachment day, stress has been killing me the whole day. My friends call me up, hey Mose, where are you? Ah, guys, I just knocked off. We are in the club, Shanga.
So let me get this straight.
And we
Let
can't
me get-
confine
let-
it
could
to
I-
the club only.
There's something.
He's talking about chill out.
Mira,
Yeah.
he's saying your friends call you up to the club. Can I? I'm not sure. You can help me. When we were growing up, the club was a source of beer and alcoholic drinks.
Can I make it even more
You
interesting?
said kumwa koko yako.
Yeah.
So let me make this interesting.
maybe-
Okay. For instance, you know, nowadays I think because you know, especially during lockdown, most people would actually watch soccer at home.
Yeah.
But now that lockdown has been lifted,
Yeah.
so just this weekend, one of the elders says, you know what? I'm meeting some of the other guys.
Wait, guys, are we talking about other elders?
Yeah, we are going to watch a soccer match
Wait.
at the Black. I think did I
You got it right. Even
yeah,
said
but
with
of
so much
course
passion.
they are not taking Savannah Dry.
They're taking it what?
They are taking Mazoe Dry and Fanta Wheat. But what they're saying is, I mean, I'm just there. We're watching soccer. We're eating nuts. We're eating. These are not ciders. Maybe just cordial or just so. What's wrong? Because I'm just watching soccer in the Black.
Can I just pass a statement?
Sorry, before you pass, it's actually a sports bar. It's made for sports.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
If
So
I
it's
kind
a
of
sports
force,
bar.
Yeah.
I'm saying
That's what I was,
The delayed match is the drinking at the sports bar, but it's a sports bar before it's a bar.
exactly.
Oh, that's your reasoning.
Plus, I just want you to get my idea. If I can't afford to go watch Manchester United play Man City, right? I'm a Man U fan. I need my Man U supporters with me in there. So like when I'm there, I know when Man U triple pano. When when Rashford scores that goal, everyone is feeling the energy. It's the same. It's just the excitement, the level, the enthusiasm is just on the same level. They're getting where I'm coming from. They're getting my passion. So there's nothing really wrong.
I have a question that says, do you think demons and the devil hate church? And if so, why would they hate church?
before I answer that one, are we talking church in terms of the church building or church in terms
I'm
of
saying
the human
The
being?
concept, the concept of church.
The ideal concept.
Or maybe let me ask the question better. Do you think church has the power to change the vilest of men?
So,
Or let me say the
so
gospel.
could I you still have your
You see,
question? That's,
in the
when
church,
you talk of church, are you talking of
Yeah.
people or
in the
or
church?
the
In the church is where the gospel is housed.
Yeah.
Right? Do you think the gospel, whether you went in there intentionally to go and listen, or you went there by accident or for whatever reason, do you think hearing the gospel may change your life?
Yeah.
So you actually you need an answer for this one. Eh?
Yes, I need an answer for this one so that I can ask my question from what you guys have been saying. Do you think, whether you are there for the right or the wrong reason, being exposed to the gospel, do you think there's a possibility that your life can be changed in a minute or two from just hearing the gospel?
Yes, yes,
That's what the purpose of the church is.
yes.
So yes,
I think it's a resounding yes.
Yes.
But I didn't hear Moses. Eh?
because I feel Moses knows where I'm going.
No, I mean, I smell a trap.
It's not a trap. It's I'm following my line of thought and your line of thought.
Yes, but
I'm saying the church. I don't know about the club and what. You guys seem to know more. I know about the church. That's why I'm the pastor. So I'm saying
Okay.
the gospel is housed in the church. And the church is not the building. It's the people that make up the church, right? So I'm saying, is it possible that if Kwati is invited, or you are intentionally a deacon there, or you are just passing by and you are feeling low, and you just hear the word of God, can it change you in any way?
Yes.
Is it now for Moses only or for?
it can.
It can. Okay, great. So we agree, right?
I agree.
Here's my follow-up question. Is it possible that the gospel of the club can change you during your Manchester game?
Okay. Before you answer, I think you had a question. I was also dying they're still trying to process to answer whether the possibility is also is equally high.
Okay, so he was saying that his friends can call him up to go and watch a Manchester United game or something. So if I am a Manchester United fan, can you take me to the club with you?
Definitely.
You would?
Yes.
I'm answered.
Okay.
Just a quick question.
Now, could I answer the question Pastor Digit has asked?
Allow me to be a little bit rational and philosophical. Judas,
You have always been like that. So why?
Judas walked with Christ for about 3 years. They shared almost every experience. But the guy died of suicide. So for me, we can't outrightly say or absolutely say that being in a certain place will change you.
But the possibility is there.
Possibility
We're
is
not
there.
talking about the end result of being changed. My question is not being answered. I feel like
You're asking, what can I, if I see if I'm getting you right.
Yes.
You're asking that, do you gain any growth, even if it's a half a centimeter growth?
I'm
just
saying
passing
by virtue of exposure, is there a
perspective
possibility of conformment?
Well, there's a statement I've heard, I don't know if it applies. By beholding,
You become changed.
in other words, when you constantly go to the club,
You become changed.
But
because
still, my elders, I still have
No,
a question.
don't catch feelings. I don't want to get.
I'm not catching
Don't
feelings.
catch feelings. It's not a filling station. I'm saying when you follow us,
Yes.
we followed you guys, and I think it's only reasonable for us to get an answer. We are saying because you said in his statement, he's putting you in a corner to say God in the club. Why is he saying that? Well, so I'm saying if there's a possibility that they may be changed because of exposure to the gospel. Your intention was not to go to church. Maybe your wife dragged you to church. Maybe a friend dragged you to church, or maybe you just felt like going to church. And there are people who've been changed by that. Is it possible that while watching a Man United game, you may be exposed to a life-changing source? Right?
Yeah.
And then I want to ask another question. Maybe it will help or confuse even further.
Okay.
Manchester United, called the Red Devils, it's called the Red Devils. They're called the Red Devils.
Why are you taking it in mind?
No, I love Man United. I love Man United. I'm just saying my team is called the Red Devils. And there's Jesus Christ, who won a victory undefeated. He won the League of Life at the cross. I've never seen you hooking up with your friends to go and read the league results in the Word of God of what He has done for you over a glass
of mineral water.
mineral water. I'm waiting for you to tell me how come there's a team that you support so much you can even go and expose yourself to a certain gospel just so that you can get that resounding hooray, but you're not hooraying for what God has done for you even to be in existence. So please answer me at that point to say the gospel of the church, the gospel of the club, does it have an effect on the individual person?
Can I still add to that? Obviously, when you talk about the club, it's a generic term to talk of the places that we think, because Kuda has already judged me and said, you're already saying that God does not go there. What are some of of course, here club, we just used a generic term, but I'm thinking if we're then going to look at all these areas, places where we think, where Kuda has already judged me and said, you said God does not even go there. But what are we talking about when we mention the term club? What are these areas that we're talking? I think she mentioned one when you talk of the avenues. Yeah, we are talking of the club. And can you do something positive in a place assumingly God is not welcome?
I personally just want to ask though and answer first.
It's okay. You can go ahead.
I think there is a change. I don't think it's like a fact. There will be change in who you are by exposing yourself to something, whether we like it or not. That's why after I watch Power Rangers, the young kids would go out and go, "Hey, I'm the Red Ranger." There's change that comes within. To your second question, why I can't hooray to us saying, I see you hooray, is that on a cultural level, on a traditional level, church doesn't allow me to show my energy as much as I might be as enthusiastic about it. The old folk have coined church to such a term where it's always a place of quietness, reservedness, and chilling. It's just too laid back. So I can't come out and go like, yes, guys, we are going to preach. I'm like, so excited. It's just on its own sound. So
Where did you find Moses?
I think Moses, I disown you. You see, because you are getting to a point where I feel you are failing to answer me. Because I feel like my point came across.
Yep,
Let me go again and say God is omnipotent. God is omniscient. Is it possible that God saw Judas going to hang himself?
Yes, he was there.
Is it possible that God saw Jesus buy the piece of land where he would hang himself? Here's a question. Why did God not stop him?
Because of the fact that we have what we got from God, which is the power of choice. We make our own decisions. That's why I was saying God,
So in making
we
your
can't
own,
confine
but
him.
in making your own decisions, understand, you make your own decisions that govern you. But why do you seem to be governing where God should go to?
yeah.
It's like you're making your decisions, then you're saying, because I'm there, God, you should be there now.
No, it's the other way around. We're saying God is already there. If we're saying that he's omnipresent, he's there.
So what is he doing in the club? What does God do in the club?
He's
Maybe?
there. Actually, the Bible says that God hates the death of a sinner. So which means he also cares for a sinner.
Are you saying you are a
But
sinner?
does he love the sin?
No,
you
I
know,
didn't say that
they're
I'm a
two
sinner.
different things.
I didn't say I'm a sinner.
God loves the sinner, but he hates the sin.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
So what it basically means, I think my thinking now is the fact that I know does not mean that I'm okaying it.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Like for instance, when you say God is all-knowing, I think you gave a good example of Judas. The fact that God knew does not mean that God was okay with what Judas was going to do. And the same reason that God did not stop Judas, I think you've mentioned it, it's the choice. So the fact that you have a choice to make, it doesn't mean that once you've made the choice, God has surrendered his will below your choice.
Okay.
Because you are saying he is already with me. Therefore, whatever choice I've made, God has no option but to do what I'm saying.
Can I
But
read
in
a-
the
can I-
contrary,
can I- can I
on
just
the
read-
contrary, Pastor,
Can I just
he
read a
gave,
quote-
he
can
gave
I
an
just-
example
can I
of
just read a-
Samson.
Can I just read a quotation?
Okay.
I may be wrong. I don't know if you've heard it before. We have guardian angels that God has given us
Sure.
that are meant to protect us. And I believe, I'm not sure where I read it, it is these guardian angels that will present us to God when we shall resurrect.
Yeah, it's true.
When you die too early, you retrench your guardian angel for no reason. You render him jobless because you died too early. There's something I want to read to you. I was shown, my brother, taking the young with you to the scenes of amusement at a time of religious interest and engaging in singing schools and worldlings who are all darkness and who all have evil angels around them. How does your feeble, dim light appear in darkness and temptation? Angels of God do not attend upon these occasions. You are left to go in on your own strength. Satan is well pleased with your position, for he can make a more efficient service than if you did not profess to be a Christian keeping the commandments of God. So it seems the team of God has places where they enter and places where they don't enter. It seems there are two sides, either with God or with the devil.
Okay.
The gospel has the power to change a man. The gospel
Equal enough.
of the club has the power to change a man. The preacher stands on the pulpit. In the club, the DJ is the man on the pulpit. Each man preaching to the congregants. If you go and you read more, it says, as you enter, the methodology of dancing, the gyrating, the energy that you're talking about is at such a peak level that you are failing even to restrict yourself. Remember last week we were talking, or was it the week after, we were talking about drinking. This is the hub. And as you are drinking there, your ability to resist certain temptations become even what? Lowered. Listen to men who drink. They will tell you as soon as you enter, the girl that you see is not very pretty.
You take one side
And she becomes a little bit pretty.
second side
And then she looks okay. 4th, 5, you're taking her home. Then you wake up, you find that you had a...
when you've done with the sick pig.
Now you get there and you find out that is a man. Or at least she looks like a man. But by that time, you don't even know what you did.
Yeah.
And that's why the statement says, I know what you did last summer.
Pastor Dickett, I want to, you know, you've read a quotation from Pen of Inspiration. It has given quite a list of things that I would probably put under the banner of entertainment. I'm trying to, you know, really picture exactly what it is because, for instance, maybe you go to the beach. The beach is not as enclosure like a club. Or let me put it pretty simple. You walk to a soccer stadium. You go to, I mean, I really want to understand now what are these places, and I'm actually looking for actual examples, you know.
Do you know what it's like?
Can I have a question?
Do you know what it's like? I think one thing we must get out of this as we contribute is some of the environments make you do things outside your Christian character. If you've been to a soccer game and it's Highlanders versus Dynamos, you all of a sudden become Debele and Shona. There's no way you can be Shona-ish or a Shonde. You can't. It's either you're Debele or you're Shona. The method of supporting your team comes with certain words. It's not just you don't say, oh, well
I really didn't
done.
know what Ntlamba means.
Yeah. You don't go say, oh, well done. You almost scored right there. No. You stand up, pay attention. You get emotional. That's why after every game, sometimes someone has to die. There's a stampede when people lose. Are you getting what I'm saying? There are some environments that cause you to cause. You become what you never understood. One day you're going to go into that club by yourself to drink your Coke. And she's going to be there. It's not about the Coke. The devil you are in his domain, in his space. And he's going to, it's not about the drink. Where the church is not here to say, don't do this, don't do that. The church is saying, at least know where you are going. And at least know where God will not step in. Why? We mustn't underestimate our power of choice. Adam and Eve were kicked out of the Garden of Eden because they made one flimsy choice and they had to worship outside. So there's a time and a season for everything. And in those amusements where we love to go, the movie house, I don't know about you guys, when I went to the movie house, my heart's desire was to put my hand around her. And you know, just
Did you do it?
there was this awkwardness. So I put my hand around her. And it was automatic. It's like she became numb on the neck and she went on my shoulder. But you see, I was thin. So the shoulder was very sharp. I could tell she was uncomfortable, but she had a motive. She was like me. She knew what was happening, so she would endure the top of the pinnacle of Mount Sinai. So she put her head here.
For 1 hour, 10 minutes.
Yes. She put her head here and I froze. And in the darkness was right. And as the movie progressed, they got to that point where the hero had the girl. And I could just hear breath. We were watching a movie, but I could hear breath. And in hearing that breath, you know what time that is. So she turned and she said, "That's a nice movie, son." I looked down upon her. And all this, I had pre-planned to say, if I get an opportunity, I'm going to, there was my opportunity. I had made the decision, I needed the opportunity, but the problem was her mouth had been quiet for a long time. So the texture of the breath was not appealing at that moment. So when it came, like a volcano, erupting and all that smoke coming out, the reason why we didn't do it that time was because the breath didn't. So sometimes the reason why we are in church is for other physical external factors, but not for Christ.
Well, friends, you have it. This is Reality Table. I've never really enjoyed Reality Table like I'm doing today. And our topic is God in the club. The question we are asking is, in these centers of amusement, is God with us? And I like the way that he has put it. Is God with us or God in us? Well, we're yet to find out. Enjoy the break. When we come back, we're going to find out more about God in the club.
And can it be that I should gain an interest in the Savior's blood? Died it for me, who caused this pain, for me who him till death pursued.
Welcome back, young people, and those who are young at heart. We are discussing places that we think, I don't want to be to make it right, because Kuda would then crucify me and nail me and say, hey, Mr. Host, you've already given us what you want. But the question is, are there places where God is not welcome, or where God does not even go, or where God isn't?
Pastor, I have got a question on that one.
This is a very rare moment. Pauline will never stop anyone.
You know, I'm
This is the moment.
okay.
That question has been burning all along.
Okay,
So, is there...
please don't go in flames.
And she burns like charcoal.
She bent from the moment we introduced the topic. Now,
Yes, Pauline, you were in the club. What was happening?
Okay, I've got a question. I wanted to ask, like, are there places or activities that we do in churches, or places we go in churches where God is not there?
Hey, now I understand why you've been begging for all this.
I've
long.
been burning.
Dig it.
Are you serious? Because it's hot coming this way. You want me to put it down? You answer it all.
No, I think Kuda and
Moses
have the question. Kuda, are there things that you do as young people? You know, I'm actually the youth director. I remember one time, Kuda, before you come in, I was invited to this program. So I was thinking, should I go? Should I not?
I know those ones. I know those ones.
You know those ones?
I know those ones.
Kuda, let's answer Pauline.
I want to add on to her question.
Ah, come on, Kuda. Wait a minute.
Because we have, from what we were learning before, the pastor was talking about an environment.
Yeah.
And what we will be beholding within a certain environment. But it seems like we have our own church programs that have a similar environment to the ones that you... So her question still stands. There are certain programs that we have in the churches, musical, gospel concerts, sometimes even youth dinners, where they have similar environments to the clubs, but in the name of the church.
We
We actually start with the prayer.
I really want to
We actually start with the prayer.
Okay, I'm the host. So, guys at home, I think you see, I'm actually enjoying today because the young people are on fire. I'm not even going to select who's going to speak. I think you guys should just speak, because I'm getting.
No,
Okay, at least this time, let me use my power. Honor ladies, you come after, please.
Okay, I want to add on to his question.
You're adding on as
yeah.
well.
Yes, I want to explain it further.
Okay.
So, I think modern day youth activities, maybe some of them that we have in the church would actually be trying to be like the youths from maybe Methodist and try to blend our church to those activities. Like we could say, we have a concert where we're allowed to, scream and do all those things. Are those things bad? Trying to conform to the chill outs, but in a church way, is it that bad?
Moses, good.
No, I'm not answering.
He's asking.
I'm testifying. This is my job right now.
Okay.
I used to grow. I grew up like in a very strict home. My mother and my father really. If you don't toe the line, you shall be told. So
I can second that. His father was my deacon. One day he found me in the kitchen. I wasn't in church. His voice was, "What about kitchen?" I'll never forget his voice. Every time I see him and he speaks, something in me says, I think I can take him out now.
So my friends used to blame, why did you come for concerts? Why did you come for concerts? Why did you come for concerts? Then eventually one day I went, my first, and I was so excited. Like if I tell you the distance I walked from my church to where the venue was, And I go there, I'm excited. You know, I'm pinning, I'm removing my tie, and we get in there. And the guy starts singing. 2-3 songs later, one girl stands in front of us and starts shaking things there. And I look at my friends, I'm like, so guys, this is what you're inviting me for. To see. And then they go like, that's why you did my concert. So the question is, the club, both have shaking. Are we saying God is here at the concert where they're shaking? In the club
I have a quotation for you to, maybe something to help you. A view of such company was presented to me. We were assembled to those who professed to believe the truth. One was seated at the instrument of music, and such songs were poured forth as made the watching angels weep. There was mirth and coarse laughter. There was abundance of enthusiasm, energy, and a kind of inspiration. But the joy was such that as Satan could only create. This is an enthusiasm and infatuation of which God, those who love God, will be ashamed. It prepares the participants for an unholy thought and action. I have reason to think that some who engage in the sin heartily repented from the shameful performance. Many such gatherings were presented to me. I have seen display in dress and personal deportment. All want the thought of brilliance. And they've got foolish jesting, cheap, coarse flattery. Eyes sparkle, and the cheeks are flashed, and the conscience is made to sleep. Eating and drinking and making merry, they do their best to forget God. A scene of pleasure is their paradise. Heaven is looking on, seeing and hearing all. There was a time where a man was in hospital. He says for some time he, the patient,
Are you still reading or you're not?
I'm
Okay.
reading.
Because with you, I can tell whether you're telling a story.
This is me being serious. There was a man who was in hospital, and he thought to be obtaining this new light. He was very ill and was soon to die. Those whom he presented his views to listen to him eagerly, and some thought he was inspired. To many, his reasoning seemed to be without flaw. They were told of his powerful exhortations in his sick room. Most wonderful views passed before him. But was this the source of his inspiration? No, it was not the source of his inspiration. What was the source of his inspiration was not the Holy Spirit. It was morphine that he was given. That was working directly through him to relieve his pain.
So what you're saying is...
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying sometimes your action is a godly church member, but the inspiration is not from God. So drunk men normally speak sense, not because they are sensible, but because the beer makes them, is now speaking through them. So you're asking the question, how come our concerts are like the worldly clubs? It's because they're being run and held by worldly youth, okay? Who are exuding what they say and what they want.
I'm answered.
So my pastor.
So why do you want to pretend like you don't know? The guys running that thing, I used to sing. I'm a bass singer. Whenever you take us at that note, and you stood up there and go, roll Jordan, and the girls go, woo! Something in you from your toes going up makes you want to go, roll the Jordan roll. It makes you want to go down. And even after the concert, you say, yeah, did you hear me? Well, that's not my best because today it's like I'm on a flu.
Oh, okay.
There's no exaltation of God. We are robbing God of glory we can't keep. We can't handle the glory. So the reason why you stand up and clap is because it's no longer about godly music. It's about the singer. So one day, a certain group came to Bulawayo. This certain group, I don't like them now. Well, I like them, but I'm just saying I have to like them. I'm just saying. So they came to this concert, and there was this girl I was trying to ask out. I paid for her. My money. I worked hard. I paid for her. And they sang her heart away. Do you know they sang a song, and then they sang the song, then they were giving out money. Then she took the money. Scary. Now she's sitting on the armrest of the chair. I'm thinking, she's getting closer to me. Gandhi, she's not getting closer to me. She's looking at that other guy who was asking out from that group. Me, I paid for her to come and see that guy. And before long, I was dumped. It's not you, it's me. And then they're dating with this guy.
Old cliche.
And they were singing. In the end, every time the group came to sing, I didn't like the whole group. So even if they sang about Jesus, I didn't like the Jesus they sang about. So is it possible that there are angels who are given to us, who cry when they see us become what we become. We call it a concert, yes, but it's not a holy concert.
So, let me get this straight. Okay, now we need to bring the discussion to a close. It's getting interesting. You know, the best one always comes at the very end. But let me just throw it to the young people. So now we are saying, even when we talk about God in the club here is just a representative of places where God, and it can also happen within, not necessarily without. And in all these cases, we just have to make sure that the environment as described is one such that the angels of God would desire to go.
And like what Kuda said, he says, so is God within or is without? I have a question for you, Kuda. You are saying, so is God inside of me or outside of me? I have a question for you. The girl that you are dating right now, when are you in a relationship? When she's with you or when she's not with you?
All the time.
All the time. Well done to that relationship. Don't catch feelings then when you're not there and she dates someone else.
Okay.
Because you're not there. It's the same thing with God. When you say, is he with me, in me, or is with, you should be in love with him all the time. There are things you don't do because you're in a relationship. There are some girls, you know how it is. I know Kwati once confessed this to me, so I'm telling you his story. Do you know that after you get married, the next 3 girls you see in town are like, oh, I should have waited. But there's a new beautiful girl being born every day. You can't finish them. So what keeps you is not the ring.
Just a minute.
Yes.
This is the last time you're going to see Pastor Digit on this platform. I'm looking for another course.
It's not the ring that keeps your marriage, it's the vow.
Yeah, of course.
So when you take God to the enemy's camp, guys, the club has got nothing to do with God.
Okay.
Let's agree on that. Just like how you see your concert a bit shady, where you feel, there's something wrong. The club has got nothing to do with God, and you take your sanctuary into the house of demons.
Can I ask Shannon a question? I want to look at you and then ask Shannon a question.
That's weird.
Your place of comfort.
You know, there's you know, when a girl wants to get married, you know, people are invited to a, what is it called?
Kitchen tea.
A kitchen
Is
tea.
it the kitchen tea?
Yeah. One time, I had a lot of girls now, they were arguing to actually say, no, man, this is no longer church. Because what is happening there, hey, you can tell that, no, man, it's organized by the the churchical people, but there's nothing churchy about it. So Shannon, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What do you think about
Tea party.
is it called a tea party? No.
Kitchen tea.
Kitchen tea party.
Yes.
But you know, you can get it, Shannon. You know what it is.
I know.
That thing there.
I know,
That
I
thing
see.
there.
The female
Kitchen
bachelor party.
Bachelorette.
Yes, that one.
Okay, so what I know is that it's supposed to be a counseling session where you're getting prepared for your marriage.
Say
isn't
what
it?
you know.
Yeah. Everyone knows that.
No, I'm saying, in other words, it's not what happens.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Saying this is what I know from the knowledge. I
from the
have-
experience.
I have assumed knowledge that tells me it's supposed.
Well,
be
it's
like this.
assumed knowledge because I've well, there are different versions of it now.
Yeah, you hijacked Samantha, Shannon's question. Shannon, what were you saying?
Oh, you're saying what I think about these parties is it's supposed to be a counseling session, isn't it? But these days, it has now turned into another concert where people just eat, drink, and be merry, and they forget about taking the person into the marriage with God. It has lost its meaning. So it's rather better if maybe I want to get married next week. By the way, I'm not. But if I'm if I'm to get married, instead of getting a lot of people there, I would just invite my pastor and the few people that I think are going to give meaningful advice. Because now avoiding it is much better. Because the kind of music, the kind of food you're going to end up serving, and the activities you're going to end up doing there is nothing to do with ushering a person with Christ into marriage.
I think maybe you're being very ambiguous because all the guys here will never have an experience of what you're talking about.
Yeah, we'll never.
So
But she will.
we're literally failing to understand what activities are you talking about?
Oh my goodness. Do you want me to tell you?
She's done.
What activities are you referring to?
Okay, I'm just gonna pick a few. But
we only just need a few.
well, there is a section of music, a choice of music. Oh God, this is difficult.
You're making it difficult.
Yeah,
Let me
no.
try Pauline. I think today she will surprise us. She has been surprising us. Have you ever attended a kitchen tea?
Yeah, for my sister. Yeah, I did. Just a section for girls, not for, yeah. So what they did, what I witnessed, it was more of a counseling session. When you are in there, what are you expected to do? Be humble, like those are some of the examples. Be humble and stuff. But when it comes to music, they're all like
All over the
gospel
place.
music for that moment. I don't know. Patakazo, it's no longer for you. Exactly.
The way you're
Yeah.
looking at Pastor D is like, you've never seen anyone as holy as Pauline.
Pauline is just, I don't know. Is there a verse? First Pauline 1 verse 3.
First Pauline.
The reason why we are asking these questions is because I feel there are so many things we can talk about, but I think the principle remains the same.
Yeah.
You know, if your bachelor's is organized by the boys, and when I say by the boys,
Sorry,
you know they will
just
take
a
you. Yeah.
second. I just found the word for what I wanted to tell you.
Yeah.
At a kitchen party, you let loose.
Who let the dogs? Oh, sorry.
The dogs will be out.
That sums it up.
I think that sums it up. Eh? You don't need to ask anything. Eh?
It's forgotten what you wanted to say.
No, the problem is you spoke to my colored mind when you said let loose. In my head, it's not loose. It's now rolling down the mountain. You see, the problem is
It's so loose that it becomes lousy.
we are trying to make God conform to our practices. We are forcing God. We are still in Egypt. Do you know how easy it was to ask for garlic and onion? We don't get it because we're thinking this guy's ungrateful. But maybe we're also asking for garlic and onion in our youthfulness.
Of course.
You get where I'm coming from?
Can I ask something? From what you've been saying all this time, it sounds like that verse that says is in Matthew 11:28. Let your put down your burden and my yoke is easy.
Yeah.
You're making the yoke very burdensome in this moment, like it's some form of slavery, if I come to say. As much as
Like being a Christian has to be something that's dull, something that becomes a bondage at the end of the day.
Can I ask you guys a
Actually
question?
looks like it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you know about the slave trade?
Oh yeah.
All those guys who left Africa going to America, do you think they wanted to go to America?
Well, they didn't.
They didn't.
And do you think they enjoyed their time in America?
No, they didn't.
Do you know that they became a point where they were like
Home is always best.
they were like animals? They had no power to choose.
no self-will, yeah.
Are you saying this God that died for us on the cross, because you want to go to the club, you want to dope, you want to live life, is treating you like a slave master? In fact, let me read for you a quotation. Today I'm very pastoral. I'll read you a quotation. Come on, someone say prophesy, Papa. Let me read for you a quotation. This is early writings.
Okay.
Prophesy, Papa.
Yeah, it says, I saw the slave master will have to answer for the souls of his slave, whom he has kept in ignorance, and the sins of the slaves visited upon the master. God cannot take to heaven the slave who was kept in ignorance and degradation, knowing nothing of God or the Bible, fearing nothing but his master's lash, and holding a lower position than brutes. But he does the best thing for him, and compassionate God can do. He permits him to be as if he had not been, while the master must endure the 7 plagues and then come up in the second resurrection and suffer the second most awful death. Then the justice of God will be satisfied. So those slaves, when Christ shall come, will not come up. It's like they never existed. because they never chose God, they never rejected him. You can't punish them for what they never chose to do. They were more scared of the master. Are you trying to say that God has removed the power of choice? No, we said he gave us the power of choice.
Yes, that's true.
So you can't be in slavery, you can't be in bondage. This quotation I've given you is telling you that those masters who take away the power of choice shall account for the people that come behind them.
That's true.
You get it? So you will account as the master, the organizer of the gig. For those you take and influence to come to the gig, and they may sometimes die in the gig. You've never murdered anyone, but on the day of judgment you shall be said, because you gave him to drink, that's how he died in the accident. What are you going to do about it? Let me come a bit home. You're a sleeping Adventist. You're a chowaholic. You chow beyond measure. You eat. You're a vegetarian, but you eat raw meat. You don't play. You count them like you're counting beans. There will come a time where God will judge you for your infidelity. Whatever she becomes, if she becomes Mary of Magdala, you're going to be judged
you're just
upon
going to carry on.
everything that she became on you. So there are certain things you must understand. When you go to the club, okay, let me come up at home. The reason why some homes are broken in my community is because the club is a religion. Most colored people don't go to church because club is a religion. Dope is a religion. Making a dwee, make us smoke, make us gay. That's what we know. To such an extent that it becomes such a cultural practice. Whether you come to church or not, it becomes we don't even talk about it. But when you see a colored young man coming to church and sitting in church and going through the processes of church and the gospel working in him, don't underestimate the power of the gospel. But when you see a colored boy going to the club, don't underestimate the power of the gig. All these places,
Both of them
have got power. So when you go to an amusement, and by the way, soccer stadiums are shaped like a coliseum. In the coliseum, the game that was being played was, what game was it? Lions and Christians.
Lions and Christians.
The Romans would have sexual intercourse at the coliseum. Whether with men or with women or whatever.
Bestiality.
They would do whatever excites them. And at that moment, Christians were dying. That was the game. The soccer ball was the head of a Christian. So you need to remember who you are, what you stand for. I'm not saying don't go and do your club, because you can spend the whole day trying to convince someone with the power of choice not to go and drink, not to go and. We're saying at least know what you are forfeiting. You are forfeiting if you can't even live an hour without the protection of God, what about a few minutes? And how many hours do you spend in the club?
That's too much. Well, there you have it. God in the club. Well, before we conclude this, let me just ask the young people to just give us your takeaway. I really enjoyed this session. Today I was actually, I think people who are at home actually enjoying more than us because they listen to each word. That's what I was trying to do today, and I've been blessed immeasurably. Let me start from, we're just going around.
Do you really want to start by Moses? Let's start by Pauline. Let's hear what Paul's sister says.
Okay. I think today I'll submit to your biddings. Pauline, your parting words to those under the dictates of your powerful voice.
First of all, I want to say I really enjoyed this. One of the takeaways like I got from my pastors is like God has given us the power of choice. And that power of choice, it doesn't mean he will go under us. He's still above us. So in that choice, if we put God first, I think we will be able to like control ourselves and stuff, and we will be able to know, hey, this place I'm in, it's no longer like conducive for me. If you have God in you, you feel something. You certainly, definitely feel something. But this place is no longer conducive for me. Then you leave.
God in you and with us. Kuda,
Yes.
let me hear your parting words.
Yes, I think I learned a similar lesson, and what I've drawn is that the question would be, is God in me or with me? So I've discovered that on the surface, we are satisfied with God being with us, but not in us.
Yeah,
but
that's
it's way, way important to have God in us because He will be the one detecting our movement, and He will help us to discern and to honor Him in places which we choose to go, which is one of our youth ministries.
Can I invite you to become a qualified master guy?
That's fine. I receive.
Shannon, your takeaways.
I was also going to mention the honor Christ in the places to which I choose to go to.
Is it because you wanted to be united by me as well?
Not really.
Okay. You should have said yes. I mean, come on. I just wanted that ego, the way that Dara was feeling when you can go ahead, lady.
So I was also going to mention that, so if I have the power of choice to choose where I am going, I really need to keep in mind that from 1 Corinthians, there is a verse that says, whatever you do, do it all to the glory of God. It then means that whatever I choose to do is an act of worship. So it means that I really should take my choices seriously, because at the end of the day, if I'm going to get into a club and drink my mazoe, I'm going to end up not worshiping God because of the environment around me. And then I would also want to say to the people that have, that might have had the perception we had at the beginning of this conversation, to say maybe you can go to other places and God will still protect you. Well, it's time to go back home. God says, come now, let's reason together. It's never too late to go back to God.
Powerful. You can make the call, I think.
You can pray.
I'm coming home.
Moses.
I think for me is God is the biggest believer in me. Reason why.
That's powerful.
It says God is love. Therefore, love requires freedom. Freedom requires responsibility. And to know that God, who's in charge of everything, trusts me, believes in me, to be responsible enough to make the right decision. I mean, that tells me that God is the biggest believer in me and in myself. Hence, I should just honor Him by doing that which is right.
Wow. There you have it. Thank you so much for joining us for this edition.
We can't. I can't leave you. I can't leave you to say goodbye.
No. I was going to.
I just want you to say.
You said I must give you a pen out.
No, but I'm saying as a youth leader, wouldn't it be nice for you to spend your whole life as a youth leader and actually find young people who are standing for God? How would it make you feel? I know we don't have as much trust as God, but what do you think, just one moment, to know that everything you've done made an impact on them? They've got a good marriage, they are principled because of your work. How would it make you feel? And they come and they confess it to you and they say, had it not been for your work, I wouldn't be. How would it make you feel?
Imagine Moses is saying, hey, Uncle Ivan is the biggest believer. I was just listening to what he was saying.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
How would it make you feel?
Anyway. You want me to answer on set?
Yes.
Please see me afterwards.
How would it make you feel if your son,
Hey.
who knows you for who you are, comes and says, my dad is the reason why I'm like this? Because of that, I followed the God in him. Not the office where he works, the God in him.
Man, that's a challenge.
You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to say the reason why we are discussing this, and sometimes it may look like we are hopping from place to place, is because we're trying not to prescribe to you what you should do with your life.
Of course.
But we're trying to conscientize you to say, Pauline, Moses, think about what you are doing. It's painful to date a chick who, in seconds, will make you see stars at every opportunity she gets. It's your heart will always be in ICU. You know, sometimes you need to be discharged from ICU and go into a ward. You can't be in ICU 24/7. Guys, sometimes I need to move from ICU to better ICU. Some movement is okay. But imagine,
ground floor is
to
better.
ground floor. And now you move from that, you are moving to kidney renal failure. You come out from renal failure, you got lung disease. Hey, come on.
You've got rheumatic heart disease.
Yeah. you don't need a church life that keeps you in bondage. You need a church life that makes you understand that manna was cooked from the heaven oven.
Amen.
And there was in the desert it's hot, but there was a cloud. It was cold at night, but there was fire. You need to understand that I'm here today, not because my parents were good or my pastors have been good to me. It's because God loved me so much, even while I was yet a sinner, in the
died for me.
blunders I was making. I had to make a conscious decision to say, Lord, I must come home. And he met me when I was coming home. In the days of ignorance, God winks. You didn't know. You've been going to club, you thought it was okay. But now you know. You are called as you are. You are justified, right? Then you're what? Sanctified. You're taught. We're waiting for glorification. So as young people, please don't feel like we are attacking you on what you are doing. No, we are all young here. But we've learned a certain thing or two as we are going along. To say there are some places where if you expose yourself, it's just harder to come out, even if you've got a 4x4. There's some mud where it's too loose. You become the more you try to get out, the deeper you sink.
Yeah.
So sometimes putting 2 wheels on dry land and 2 wheels on mud gives you a fighting chance. We are human, yes, but there's a God in us, guys. We're human, yes. We are just, we know we are attracted to the mud because we are a 4x4. We want to try our traction, but there's loan here.
You know,
Put 2 wheels on the Lord.
this idea of a big God who has trusted us so much with the power of choice.
Yeah.
To say, I've given you life and death.
Yeah.
But I trust you to choose life.
You've given Shaki. You gave birth, your wife gave birth to Shaki with the apparatus to have sexual activity. God gave Shaki the ability to say, I trust you
With
this
this apparatus.
Eh.
But you can still hold on.
Eh. That type of God who has faith in fallen man. If I was God, I'd give you. I wouldn't even care.
You'd be born with the lock.
The key.
Thank you for joining us on Reality Table. I'll miss you, Pastor Deacon, man.
Yeah, it's been
Since this
good.
is your last show on.
It's been good. It's been good.
It's been good. So join us again next week as we continue to discuss issues affecting young people. Thank you, young people. I think today I really enjoyed the discussion, and thank you for being honest as we continue to discuss issues that at times past were a taboo to talk about some of these things. But right now, the elephant is no longer in the room. It's outside, and everyone
Where it belongs.
is talking about it. Join us yet again on Reality Table as we discuss issues affecting young people. God bless you. Peace.
Amazing love, how can it be that thou, my God, you died for me? Amazing love, how can it be that thou, my God, you died for me? Amazing love, how can it be that thou, my God, you died for me? He left his Father's throne above, so free, so infinite his grace, emptied himself of all but love, and bled for Adam's helpless race. 'Tis mercy all immense and free. Oh my God, it found out me. Amazing love, how can it be that thou, my God, you died for me? Amazing love, how can it be that thou, my God, you died for me? No condemnation now I dread, Jesus and all in him is mine. Alive in him, my living head, and clothed in righteousness divine. Bold I approach the eternal throne, and claim the crown through Christ my own. Amazing love, how can it be that thou, my God, you died for me? Amazing love,